The concept was developed back in 1981 or 82, I believe, by Tony Aversano and Sid Haggard. And they wanted to sponsor a festival that represented the quality of the music programs that are reflective in the state of Virginia. And I guess this one is mainly made up of Fairfax County bands and some people that I have acquaintances with around the state and up in Maryland. The idea is to give an opportunity for students to be critiqued by nationally renowned jazz musicians and receive comments that are going to help them be able to become more, just better musicians, and also help the band director to enhance the quality of what's already going on with their program. Today we have 21 performances, 19 competing groups. The festival will run from, well, it started at 8:40 today. My bands actually don't compete, but they do get critiqued, and the students participate in the scholarships which are offered from the Big Band Society, which I'll explain later. But they perform all day. During my band's performance, at the end of the day, the judges will confer on who the top 3 finalist bands will be. And then this evening, starting at 7:30, there will be 3 bands that play off. Final round, and then they're ranked 1, 2, and 3. The judging process is actually very simple. The judges have a score sheet that they rate each band on. The score sheets are broken up into 3 categories, and those 3 categories are broken up into smaller categories where you can get very specific. Generally, one category is ensemble, another category is rhythm section, and the third category, which is unique to jazz, is called improvisation. And in these subcategories, you have an ensemble, like the balance of the group, intonation of the group, and things. And the judges are encouraged to give written remarks for these different categories and get as specific as they can about what needs to be worked on within that group. In addition to that, while the band is playing, the judges are rolling with tape recorders and they're recording comments as things go on, because you don't always remember everything, but when something goes on, they'll say, wow, that was a really great lead trumpet player. That was a really great drum kick right there. Saxes, you're really phrasing this nice. Or maybe you want to watch the intonation in this section, and those kinds of things. On Monday morning and Tuesday, when you get back to your classroom, you play those back to the kids so they can hear what's going right and what they need to work on. In addition to that, I'd mentioned that the judges are following recommendations from the directors of the students who qualify for the scholarships. And so they have a write-up of the kids and what instrument they play so they can keep them in track in their mind. And there's only a couple of requirements for this. The student has to be a senior and either minoring or majoring in music, and that qualifies a student to at least vie for one of those scholarships. The scholarships are funded by the Big Band Society in Washington, D.C., named after Ed Walker, the Ed Walker chapter. They hold dances throughout the year, big band style dances, as sort of like fundraisers to fund their program, and they also give 3 $1,000 scholarships to the top 3, who the judges consider to be the top 3 seniors going into music of that day. They purchase the trophies and the tapes that the comments are being made, because 60 tapes will be used. So they're very supportive of the event. The sight reading is merely, it's not factored into who makes the playoffs or who's number 1, 2, or 3. This sight reading is just there because that's an experience that all musicians run into, and it's the judge that's in there tells the kids straight up, you're not being ranked or rated or scored for sight reading. You're just, I want to help you learn how to sight read and what you might work on as well. the coordinator of the festival is Jesus Cota. He just did an outstanding job. It's been very little work for me, and he's coordinated and organized quite a bit, and all the parents that have helped. It's all done voluntary. It's not a fundraiser. We're not making money. In some cases, we lose money, but it's an important event. But I'd like to thank all my boosters as well.
Wynton Marsalis said that you have to realize when you're young that you just can't play, and you got to just get in the practice room and keep hammering on it, on the stuff that you can't do, until you can finally do it. And I have a hard time sometimes finding the motivation to just keep practicing. Sometimes you have a bad day and you get really depressed and, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. But when you get up on stage and people clap and you play all right, then it's all worth it. Jazz is a lot more expressive. I've always felt that music is just another form of communication that can be used for expressing yourself. And when you're playing somebody else's music, like Tchaikovsky or Beethoven, it's not all your music. You can only put so much into it. But jazz, and through improvisation, you can really put your feelings into music on how you feel about this piece, what kind of mood you're in. And I think it's a lot more fulfilling. It's also more fun sometimes. There's a lot of guys who can play a mean horn, but if they don't have the kind of sound that people are looking for, you're not going to really want to hear a guy who has a bad sound but can play really fast and all this stuff. And if you can train a monkey to type at a computer, or you could train an ape to play the trumpet easily. It's just changing keys and blowing air. But the real musicianship, where the difference is between someone who can play technically well, musically well, is whether or not they can feel the music and they know the point of what they're doing.
I went from the clarinet to the tenor sax, and that isn't too much of a difference, and then from tenor to bari. And I also went from clarinet to flute, so I kind of went in two directions, from smaller to larger and smaller to smaller. And as far as embouchure, they're both pretty loose embouchures. It's not like going from a huge thing to a really small thing. It's not that bad. Most people think that being a girl that I can't produce much sound. With a bari sax, I can overblow almost any of them. I really like playing jazz. I'm not so great at improvising, but I like the syncopations and just the way that feels. I don't really practice bari very much because it's the school's instrument and other people play it, but clarinet I practice quite a bit, maybe 4 hours a week. Not an incredible amount. It's really a stress release. I have band in the middle of the day, and it's just kind of a break from all of my classes, from sitting around and listening to teachers lecture at you. And it provides a good stress release. It just gives you a whole nother way of looking at things. You can understand a lot more things just out in the world. A lot of terms come up in other places. It's relaxing. It lets you have a new way of listening to music. You appreciate it more.
Well, my parents gave me an ultimatum when I was in 4th grade that I could either pick up an instrument or join the church choir. And I decided to pick up an instrument. My sister was a viola player, so she kind of steered me along the strings path, and bass just appealed to me. The best thing in my life right now. I mean, I don't know if musical pleasure is will appeal to everyone, but it's just a way of, I don't know, it's just getting up there and making that song come alive. You know, it's a lot of fun. You work hard at it, and this is kind of the big payoff. Getting to perform in front of people and getting, yay, applause. A lot of times you just have to block out that you're playing in front of people and just say, I know this chart. I've played this chart many times perfectly. I'm going to play it perfectly now. And it's also kind of uncomfortable up there because the lights are hot. And you're kind of, it is a nerve-wracking experience, but I've been doing it for a long time, so I can get past that now.
Once again, James Robinson Secondary School.
I play the trombone for the Herndon High School Band, and I've been playing for 3 years. And I've joined the jazz band just recently, and I've enjoyed it. It takes a lot of practice, yes, about an hour a day. Well, I like to pick things that are difficult for me that I have to work at, so I chose trombone. When you go to compete, you compete against different trombone players. You get to see what kind of style they play, and then if you like something, you get to go and work for it. Well, if you notice, most of the students that take music, their grades are much higher on average than anyone else in school. The math involved in taking music, some foreign language. You have to listen for balance, what's around you, if you're playing in a new place, the acoustics, and just how to know how to blend in with the rest of the ensemble.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Vernon High School under the direction of Mr. Rich Bergman.